Hey YouTube, I'm back. Yes, I've been cheating on you with TikTok. I'm sorry. You probably own the company anyway. Well, I doubt that. I've not done research. But anyway, swiftly moving on. Quick disclaimer before you watch this video. I made it a couple of months ago to show my cousin that, you can be manipulated with the footage you're watching, and he just does not listen. So I made this, and you know what? He started to listen a little bit. He didn't like it. He was like, "Oh, don't post that. Whoa, don't post that." And I thought, all right, fair enough. It does make you look pretty bad. But recently, been a bit of a tool, haven't you, Dean? I'd like to begin by saying thanks to our new subscribers and all the new likes and the suggestion for tonight's video. I would also like to warn of the content that we will be going through tonight. It's especially heinous and it's not for the faint of heart, so I've warned you. The story begins January the 6th, 2021, in a small seaside town named Llandudno. Llandudno is popular for its tourism in the summer and winter holidays, with sites like the Great Orme and the Grand Pier and the amazing Victorian architecture. But don't be fooled by the pretty exterior. This town has an ugly truth. It raised a monster. The press has dubbed him the Llandudno Strangler, aka Weasel the Evil. At 7:30 a.m., before most of the residents had even woken up, a body had been found floating in West Shore by a local woman who was walking a dog. She immediately reported it to the police. They showed up about 20 minutes after the old lady made the call. And as they were on the scene investigating, calls came in from a body being found on North Shore. And they didn't believe it at first. They thought it was some confusion, maybe the tourists had mixed up the beaches. But the news was true, and there was a body there. And because of the time frame and the location, the murders were instantly connected. And after further investigation, the bodies showed signs of struggle, and though they had both been sexually abused. The autopsy report showed that the victims had sustained many knife wounds, but strangulation was ultimately the cause of death. The residents were said to be shocked to their core, never seeing or hearing of a crime like this in the area. Police are said to have gone door to door looking for witnesses or anyone who knew anything about the two girls. Although they hadn't identified the bodies at this point, it was the only information they had to go on. And after 7.5 hours of the investigation, a witness came forward who had claimed to have seen two people acting suspicious the night before.
So it all started, I woke up early one Saturday night, early Sunday morning. It was about 3:30, kept tossing and turning, couldn't really get back to sleep. Went outside for a cigarette. I was seeing a young couple on the other side of the street walking towards West Shore Beach. And this time it was about 4 o'clock. The young woman, she just had her head down. The gentleman, he was looking around and he was dead dirty and shifty. And it was 4 o'clock in the morning, you know, everything's suspicious at that time. So I didn't think too much of it. I just carried on. I tried to go back to bed. There was no home, so I decided to go out for a run to tire myself out. So I had a little bit to eat, got ready. As I was leaving my house, it must have been about 45 minutes later. Um, I see the gentleman walking back towards me, alone. He he looked familiar. As he got closer and closer, he started to look more familiar. The thing that made me realise that it was Mr. Lennox was that he had the North Face jacket and the Nike trainers on. And I used to know Mr. Lennox from when we were in college, and he was always an angsty and an aggressive person. To think he could do that to such a poor soul. I was positive it was him. I didn't get a clear glimpse of the face, but I just hope it wasn't him, because I just can't think what's happened to that poor young girl.
So, had the police found their answers? Was this the man? Was Dean Lennox the killer? Dean was raised in this town, but born in England. Moved over with his mom and dad. His mom left him, but his dad stayed around to beat on him and abuse him. Must have taught him some good life lessons. Ever since he's been able to walk, he's been committing crimes like shoplifting, Grand Theft Auto, and GBH. Anything to entertain himself. As a kid, Mr. Lennox even tortured his animals and killed them. And even people 3 towns over knew he was a bully. How did you know Mr. Lennox? I've known him since we were kids. What was he like as a kid? What was he like growing up? I suppose he acted quite normal as a kid, but well, now that's actually a lie. He's always seemed quite psychotic. Now I think of it, he used to torture his pets, beat his rabbit at his cat. And his dog disappeared, but everyone blamed him. Said to be affiliated with many gangs, none of which he founded, but he takes all the credit for. He's been known to rough up a few of the gang members, even though they're part of his crew, and it's been rumored that he sexually abused them as well, and forced them to partake in sexually abusing women at Dean's flat. But this is all speculation, no evidence to support it. But saying that, after the investigation went public and a lot of people connected Dean to the crime, his ex-girlfriend started coming out of the woodwork and exposing who he truly was.
Hi.
Hey, do you know why you're here?
Yeah, I know why I'm here. Speak about Dean, right?
Yeah, but only if you feel okay.
What really can I say about him? I've known him all my life. Grew up on the same estate together, so I've known him since we were kids. If I'm being honest about his personality, he was a bit of a bully, little thug to be honest with you. Ruined mine and my mates' lives all the time, every single day he could.
I see.
Kind of emotional speaking about it, to be honest. Gives me a bit of anxiety.
I bet, man, I bet.
So there's this one time, he pinned me down, took my pants off, handcuffed me to a lamppost, and then
You don't have to continue if you don't want to, mate.
And then
It's okay.
pulled his dick out and pissed all
Oh
over
my
me.
God, man, I'm sorry.
And then just walked off, left me there. For hours, people walking past. No one did anything to help.
In his local bar, Dean had been known to be really friendly with the girls and buy them drinks whenever they wished. But it turns out Mr. Lennox had been spiking those drinks and taking those ladies back to his flat and taking advantage of them. They did report it, but nothing was done. After a thorough investigation of Mr. Lennox's property, they found the North Face and Nike trainers the police were looking for. The police were now able to link him to the murder in West Shore, but unfortunately not to the one in North Shore. And also in Mr. Lennox's property, the police located a great deal of knives hidden under his bed, none of which could connect him to the crimes. The police speculate that maybe he wiped them clean. You know Dean?
Yeah, I've known Dean for a few years now. I only live 2 doors away from him, so yeah, we're the same age, and we grew up on the same street, so we always hung about together and shit.
Could you tell me a little bit about Dean, like his character?
Dean's got a good character, he's a good guy. He looks after his mates, and he watches over people and shit. He's a nice lad.
Well, what's with all his knives?
His knives, he's got a collection, bro. Like, have each to their own. He loves collecting different types of knives, so just let him do that. Like, it's not like he runs about stabbing people.
I disagree, but moving on, what about the screaming from the house?
Nah, man, like I said, there was no screaming at his house, bro. I live 2 doors away, and there's not a chance. Not a chance.
There's been multiple reports of it.
Nah, no, personally, I definitely don't think he did this murder. Definitely, 100% not true.
Mr. Lennox denied all accusations against him and said he was in fact in Conway on the night of the murders. He thought he could trick the police with a half-truth, because Mr. Lennox was in fact in Conway, but he left hours early to make his way back to Llandudno, where he would execute his plan. After both the bodies were identified, they could now connect Dean to the murder in North Shore. The body was Becky Duhedson. She was an ex-girlfriend of Dean's, said to have a rough relationship, and it ended really badly. And that vexed Mr. Lennox, because he was not about to let her go. Mr. Lennox claimed that he didn't know who the other girl was, and he only took her life to try and hide the fact that he had a connection with Nikki. And he knew the police would ultimately come to him. Mr. Lennox is still awaiting his trial, where he's looking at getting 20 years to life. Mr. Lennox has chosen to plead guilty because of the overwhelming evidence against him. Mr. Lennox had told the police that he took the life of Becky Duhedson first. He managed to get a new phone number off a friend and arrange a meeting with her, and she said that if they did, he would have to leave her alone, and he promised he would. But Mr. Lennox was lying. He went there with full intentions to take her life that night. He claims that the knives found in his property were not the ones used for the murder. They would be found on Maesty Golf Course. And he did in fact not know the other lady he took the life of. He said he only done it in the heat of the moment, trying to cover it up. And it didn't work. He's took 2 lives. He's a very sick man, and I hope he rots in prison. That's enough for this episode, because I really can't stomach it. These monsters, these dirty, disgusting monsters. Man, they deserve to rot. Only joking, Weasel. It's all a joke, Dean. I'm sorry. It's just a joke. These accusations are not true. I'm completely making them up. Dean did not murder anyone. It's a total lie. Horse shit, right? Okay. Dean, I love you, you ugly little twat.